What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you, or rather an EP review for you. And this is one that we've been excited about because this band is exciting. And that's enough of a reason. But, I mean, other reasons are it's Enforced. They put out a new EP, A Leap Into the Dark. This comes out on the 25th of October on Century Media Records. This band formed in 2016 in Richmond, Virginia. This is their first EP, technically. I guess you could say that their first album, from what I hear, is just sort of a collection of their earlier material put into one album. But we are certainly no strangers to this band. We have gone over their last two releases, Kill Grid and War Remains. I went over their debut album, At the Walls, when I saw them live here in Toledo. They absolutely just wrecked the Ottawa Tavern. It was an amazing show. And we've seen this band numerous times. We've run into them, hung out with them. And in terms of like newer thrash bands, honestly, one of my favorites. These guys just bring a palpable energy to the stage, to their albums. And yeah, I'm excited anytime they release anything.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, although I didn't see them in Toledo, which is a bummer because I hear that was a real good show.
It was.
But I got into them when we reviewed Kill Grid and just have never left the Enforced camp. Yeah, we've seen them, I don't even know how many times we've seen them now. Probably.
Yes.
Up there. We've hung out with them. They're super nice dudes. Enforced rules, and I feel confident in saying that. So, yeah.
Yeah, they have yet to disappoint me. In fact, I just kind of feel their stock essentially growing with every release. And while I knew that this was an EP and almost kind of a compilation in a way, because this features 3 new tracks, a remastered track from a Decibel Flexi release, and 2 cover songs, it almost kind of works as like a compilation. Like they didn't just want to leave you with 3 new tracks. No, they had some extra stuff to give you, and the extra stuff is pretty much as awesome as the new stuff.
Now, first we're going to talk about the 3 new tracks that they have on the album, and although all 3 of these tracks are awesome, one really stands out. The title track, A Leap Into the Dark, they released it as a single, a couple months ago?
Yep.
They played it live. If you saw them on the tour with Frozen Soul, they absolutely crushed it live. And this song, I think, is not only particularly groovy, but pretty menacing. Like, they go for the throat on this track, and it shows.
It's got a bit of a different energy, namely it being like a little bit more mid-tempo. Like, granted, it does have a fast, thrashy, DB-driven bridge loaded with squealy leads and just like triplet chugs. But this song just kind of has this like kind of hardcore, like stomp your guts out sort of vibe to it. And it's kind of interesting to hear Knox just growl his guts out over something a little bit slower. Like, it feels extra powerful. Like, there's not like, I have to maintain and like, catch that next breath so the next one's delivered super hard. Like, no, I have time to just belt these fucking words out. This honestly kind of reminds me of their first album a little bit. Like, it's got a little bit more of like a hardcore bite to it. Even in the faster section, like, there's parts in there that kind of remind me of Hatebreed a bit, but again, with like an extra thrashy snarl to it. And the thrashiness especially comes out in the other 2 new songs, Betting on the End and Deafening Heartbeats. Deafening Heartbeats is blazing fast. Like, that song is like 95% machine gun riffs, fast-paced drums. There's some like ferocious Dave Lombardo-esque drum work on there. In fact, there's some huge Slayer vibes on there, or like Demolition Hammer. Like, that song just means business for your head and neck and probably your lower back. And the opening track, which is just a beast of a starter, Betting on the End, is, I think it's honestly about your head, neck, and lower back. Like, that's the end of it. Like, that song is out to destroy it.
And your knees. Let's not leave those out of the equation. And really your feet, too. If you're old like us, then they are betting that we are going to take a lot of ibuprofen when we leave the show.
These songs will grind you down to a puddle of meaty flesh and bones. You will be pulped.
Yeah, Betting on the End, though, I think is pretty intense, as are the rest of the tracks on the album. More focused, I think, towards their thrash sound. Like, they wanted to come out with an immediate thrash banger before they threw the grooves at anybody. And albeit there are some grooves in the song, this is just Enforced doing what Enforced does.
And also, that's what I've come to expect. Like, I don't really want this band to change their style, because their style is just flat out energetic. It's explosive. I love that about this band. I have never listened to an Enforced song and go, well, that was okay. Like, I didn't even bang my head once. That has literally never fucking happened.
Nope. And I don't think it's going to happen. These guys don't miss.
And I have to say, the production on here, I think is kind of an improvement over War Remains. I love War Remains. I love all their stuff. But I feel like that one was like a little bit more like compressed. It didn't give like the low end a lot of breathing room. Here, the low end is actually very prominent. Like you can make out the bass, and the bass drum in here has this great thud to it.
And that overall just kind of fattened tone just helps this, at least these 3 songs, sound a lot more punchy. Like this is definitely more in your face and like hefty about it. It's like being in the pit and you get punched. You can feel that. And that's kind of what they want you to feel here. And the production lends itself to that.
Honestly, it feels kind of close to them live. And, live is, anything that they've recorded is awesome, but live is the only way to really, like, kind of just hear this band. They're just exceptionally just badass live. Like, that is where I think they could win over anyone. That's where they won me over, too.
Yeah.
Now, the additional tracks in here that, I don't know, like, kind of like, fatten up this EP a little bit more than, again, just 3 new songs, I found were actually pretty interesting. Casket, the 4th track in here, is actually a remaster, I believe, of a track that they put out on one of those Decibel Flexi discs, which I have never had a subscription to Decibel magazine, so I've never gotten one of those. I bought it on newsstands when I did buy it, but this song is the shortest song on the album. It is pretty much just pure crossover thrash energy. Like, I don't think it really slows down very much. The song moves like someone set a Pinto on fire, rolled it down a hill, and just pointed it right in the direction of a fireworks factory, because it's just exploding and on fire and awesome.
Yep. That's a really decent synopsis, actually. I believe in that wholeheartedly. You guys, if you haven't made a video for this, there it is.
I swear that headline probably popped up in like 1981, so,
And then we're agreed to do a pair of covers, the first one being Deadly Intentions from Obituary. I mean, it sounds like Enforced covering Obituary. It's got a little bit more crunch to it. I think Nox does a fairly good job at covering John Tardy. I won't call it a full-blown emulation because, it's John Tardy. Like, you can't do that. But he does a good job to elongate his delivery and add a little bit more, like, on the end of his words. So, it works. But they do a really good job.
I like the fact that it's a deeper cut off of Slowly We Rot, which, that's like one of my favorite Obituary albums. It flat out rules. And I do like the fact that there is a faster, like, thrashier section in that song already. And that kind of is close to what Enforce does anyway, because I would still describe Enforce as a thrash band that clearly loves death metal, and it kind of comes out in the intensity and the ferocity. Like, this band just sounds absolutely savage. And this song was kind of like the perfect Obituary song for them to cover, though I would love to hear them cover, like, Chopped in Half or something like that.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah. And, again, like, the John Tardy vocal thing, like, Nox does a great job there. And, I'm sure he could have hammed it up and just went, at the end of everything. But I'm kind of glad that they kind of, like, kept it a little bit reined in.
Yeah, well, they kept it their own still. That's important when you cover a song. Obviously, you want to do the best job possible to pay homage to the band you're covering and the song you're covering, but still, it wouldn't be a cover if you didn't keep it your own. And I think they did a good job at touching on things that Obituary did, but still keeping it enforced.
It's still strange hearing an Obituary song even without, like, a more, like, Trevor Perez-like tone.
Yeah.
Because that swampy tone, honestly, it's as much of a hallmark of that sound as, like, John Tardy's vocals.
And much like I said, for the last track, keeping in turn for doing a cover, they covered The Chase Is On by the English Dogs. Before we filmed this review, I'd never heard the original, but we went back and listened to it because we thought, we needed to know. And they did a really good job on this one, too.
It's a very straightforward, very faithful cover. The only thing I would say that is different is the fact that it is, like, a little bit more aggressive. I only own one album by English Dogs, and it is a later one. Like, I think it came out in, like, the mid-2010s, and I just haven't followed up with them, but I know that they are, like, kind of like UK crossover thrash legends. And Enforce does a good job here. The, tone, of course, is a little bit heavier and a little bit crunchier than the original. The original, it had, like, a solid thrash tone for 1984.
Right.
This has got way more crunch to it. But, in terms of, like, the punky riffs and kind of alternating between, like, punk riffs and thrash riffs and even some, like, heavy metal harmonies, they do a really good job. Like, actually, I pretty much need to get some English Dogs. So Thank you, Enforce, for reminding me. So, yeah, this is a shorter release, but there was no way in hell we were going to miss it. And in terms of, like, any negatives on here, Well, I already want more, I suppose.
Well, yeah.
That's necessarily a negative, though. But, I mean, there's really no complaints here. If I can make one, it's the fact that this kind of has that compilation vibe where you get different production from track to track. Like the first three have a flat-out steady production, and it sounds amazing. And then the other songs, while they're still well-produced, they're differently produced. So you get this kind of like inconsistency on the album, which again is like kind of a minor gripe I have about comps, but generally I'm just happy because I'm getting a whole bunch of music that I didn't have before. I will also say I didn't see if there was a CD release for this, and I'm going to be pissed if there isn't. Like I saw there was like a 7-inch vinyl or whatever. I'm not a vinyl person. But I don't want to have to download this. Please do a CD. I know it's not up to you guys and for Century Media. Come on. Just, be nice.
I don't really have any negatives either, other than the fact that there's only 3 originals, and obviously I want more. I want a whole Enforced record, but I realize that, that's tough to do in this day and age sometimes, and everyone has families and lives and shit like that. And I'm sure we'll get a new Enforced eventually anyway, so that's not really a gripe. Yeah, I guess I could nitpick and say that the production sounds a little bit different on the covers and casket, but it's still good, dude. I don't have any gripes. I love this band. So overall, I'm going to give this 4 stars. Production sounds crunchy, clear, big fat tones again. It's riffy as shit. I didn't think it wouldn't be. Throughout these 6 songs, all I could think of were pits going on and people getting punched. These guys just don't miss, ever. It's an awesome release, and I wasn't gonna miss it, and yeah, that's where I'm at, 4 stars.
I'm also at a 4. This is 100% just Enforced doing Enforced and then throwing in some fun extra tracks, which are also awesome and also have the Enforced charm. The thing I love about this band's music is everything has momentum. Everything just carries to the next part, and you kind of get to this like whole fever pitch where you feel obligated to throw a chair. You don't live at that venue. It's fine. Sure, you might get arrested, but I feel like it's kind of for a noble cause. This band does not pull a single punch ever. In fact, I would say all these songs were wearing brass knuckles and kicking you with steel-toed boots. That's exactly what I want from Enforced. Musically. This kind of captures exactly the whole live vibe. I'm pretty sure we've said that on other reviews for them, but they're really good about capturing that live energy on their albums. Still, it's not quite the same as seeing live. Go see them live. That's the way to do it. I really appreciate the covers, especially the fact that, like Obituary is like, one of my favorite bands. I love Obituary, and they did a great job in that. And honestly, it reminded me I need to check out some English Dogs, because that song was pretty badass too. If you are a longtime Enforced fan, this is like an easy buy. Go get it. You'll love it. If you haven't stumbled upon Enforced yet and you love Demolition Hammer and Sepultura around like Beneath the Remains, DRI, Municipal Waste, Iron Reagan,
Old Slayer,
Power Trip, a bunch of killer bands, just check out this EP, and if you like it, just go ahead and get the rest of their stuff, because you probably just should.
You won't be disappointed.
You won't be.
No.
So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships now. They are only 99 cents, and the only perk we are currently offering is a members-only live stream with us, which we will eventually get to around November when the releases start slowing down, which they are totally not slowing down this month.
No.
But we also offer a booger troll, which is still a weird sentence to say out loud and still sounds just as stupid as I did the first time I said it. But that's a thing that we have. And I actually have other booger troll pictures that, who knows, I might just make those the other emojis too, because we're fucking stupid.
It's a family of booger trolls. There really are. There's about 6 more pictures of the booger troll. We typed in booger troll to a lot of AI generators just to see what would happen, and they were all worth their weight in gold.
God, you guys watch this voluntarily. This is amazing. Anyway, this is pretty much to help us out with, just supporting the channel, and it also helps us out with StreamYard, which is raising their prices. Granted, the quality is going up, and they'll probably be adding a whole bunch of other features. It still costs a little bit more, and it's just, another way to help out the channel. We also still have our store with t-shirts and hats too. So if you're interested in helping out the channel either way or both ways, There's a link down below at thrallsmetal.com, and there is the join button directly below this video.
And as always, all these things we do, even the Booger Troll, album reviews, discography rankings, multiple discussion forums, Nick's never-ending collection updates, tons of stuff going on. We do all this for you guys because we appreciate you. Thank you to everyone who has made Thralls of Metal a part of your lives. It's crazy because I never would have guessed in a million years that as many people would like this channel as they do, because we have a Booger Troll. I mean, that doesn't scream sophisticated gentleman or intelligence or really any of that. So you're here for us, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule, and you've tolerated so much, and we appreciate the hell out of it. But yeah, tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you because you guys are awesome, and we will catch you later.